Good day, everyone. I am teacher Sulin Rodrigues. I hope all of you are fine and keeping in good health by the grace of God. Today we will be doing chapter 3.6 titled The Concert by Shanta Rao. Shanta Rao was a renowned Bharatnatyam dancer and had also studied Kathak and Kuchipudi. She was the recipient of many awards, the highest one being the Padma Shri. This lesson, the concert written by her, is a true story. We will go through this entire lesson and I will explain it part by part. One morning, in a small apartment in Bombay, a girl of about 16 looked up from the newspaper and said excitedly, Pandit Ravi Shankar is playing tomorrow at the Shamukanand Auditorium. Shh, shh, said her mother, pointing to the figure sleeping on the bed. You'll wake him up. You know he needs all the sleep and rest he can get. But the boy on the bed was not asleep. Pandit Ravi Shankar, he said. Pandit Ravi Shankar, the sitar maestro. He raised himself up on his elbows for 1 second, then fell back. But his eyes were shining. We mustn't miss the chance, he said. I've always wanted to hear him and see him. Lie down, son, lie down. His mother sprang to his side. He actually raised himself up without help, she murmured with a catch in her throat, and her eyes turned to the idols on a corner shelf. The prayer which she uttered endlessly came unbidden to her lips. The word maestro means a distinguished conductor or performer of classical music. The phrase catch in a throat is an expression which means a break in the voice when a person is on the verge of crying. That person is choked up with emotion. Uttered means to speak very softly or to mutter. Unbidden means automatically, without any conscious effort. I must hear him and see him. The boy replied, It's the chance of a lifetime. Then he began to cough and gasp for breath and had to be given oxygen from the cylinder that stood under the bed. But his large eyes were fixed upon his sister. Chance of a lifetime is a phrase which means a rare opportunity, a once in a lifetime opportunity. Fixed means to stare. Smita bit her lip in self-reproach. She had been so excited at seeing the announcement that she had not remembered that her brother was very ill. She had seen how the doctors had shaken their heads gravely and spoken words that neither she nor even her parents could understand. But somewhere deep inside, Smita had known the frightening truth that Anand was going to die. Self-reproach means blaming oneself, and the word gravely means seriously. Now in this passage, we see that Smita, a girl of almost 16 years, without realizing what she was doing, spoke aloud about this ad that she saw in the newspaper about a classical music concert. And this got her brother, who was very ill, to get very excited about it. And he mentioned that this was a rare opportunity which they shouldn't miss. And they both must be able to go for this concert. This made Smita feel very ashamed of herself because she had not realized that saying this thing aloud in her excitement would get her brother also excited, and this would not do, because this would have dire consequences on her brother, who was already very, very weak from being very seriously ill. On the other hand, you see the mother. It is mentioned over here that she was very excited actually, in a very silent way, because she saw that at the mention of the concert, her son was filled with enthusiasm, so much so that he who was so weak and needed help for even sitting up could now prop himself up on his elbows without any help. And this gave the mother the feeling that maybe God could intervene and save her son. And so she, in her turn, started chanting prayers for her son. This is the situation, or this is the scene that is unraveled in this passage. The word cancer had hung in the air. Her brother was dying of cancer, even though she pretended that all would be well and they would return together, a small family of four, to their home in Gaganpur. And he was only 15, and the best table tennis player in the school and the fastest runner. He was learning to play the sitar. They were both taking sitar lessons. But Anant was better than her and in many other things. He was already able to compose his own tunes, to the astonishment of their guru. Then cancer had struck, and they had come to Bombay so that he could be treated at the cancer hospital in the city. Compose is to make tunes or compositions. Whenever they came to Bombay, they stayed with Aunt Sushila. Her apartment was not big, but there was always room for them. Room for them means there was enough place. A place was made to accommodate them. They had come with high hopes in the miracles of modern science. They told themselves that Anand would be cured at the hospital, and he would again walk and run and even take part in the forthcoming table tennis tournament. He would play the sitar, perhaps, be a great sitarist one day. But his condition grew worse with each passing day, and the doctors at the cancer hospital said, "Take him home, give him the things he likes, indulge him." And they knew then that the boy had not many days to live. But they did not voice their fears. They laughed and smiled and talked and surrounded Anand with whatever made him happy. They fulfilled his every need and gave him whatever he asked for. And now he was asking to go to the concert. The chance of a lifetime, he was saying. Forthcoming is an event that will happen in the near future. Indulge to please. When you are better, his mother said. This is not the last time they are going to play. Smita stood at the window looking at the traffic, her eyes wet with tears. Her mother whispered, "But you, Smita, you must go. Your father will take you." When she was alone with Aunt Sushila, Smita cried out in a choked voice, "Now how can I? We've always done things together, Anant and I." Now, in this passage, you can see what this situation is about this boy who was terminally ill, and there was no chance that he could actually go and see the concert because he was very, very weak, and it was not possible for him to physically go and attend the concert. There are also certain attributes mentioned of this boy, what kind of a person he was. That he seemed to be an all rounder good at sports, good at music. And here was his sister who felt that he was better than her, and yet there was this time now when he couldn't do anything more than just lie in the bed because he was terminally ill and slowly life was ebbing out of him. The doctor had given up hope, and now all that the doctors had advised him was to keep him happy and give him whatever he asked for. And here was this boy Anand asking for something that was a little difficult to get. This made his sister, Smita, very, very upset because she could not fulfill or could not see how her parents could fulfill this wish of the dying boy. And she voiced this opinion of hers to her aunt, saying that they had always done things together. How could she go alone? Because her mother had told her to go alone and watch the concert, even though the son couldn't go. They did not want to deny the daughter any of the happiness and small pleasures that she could get. But the sister was a very selfless person, and she felt that since she and her brother had always done things together, it was not right that now she gets to go and see this once in a lifetime opportunity all alone. Gets to attend this concert all alone without her brother. So that upsetted her a lot. I'll continue. A walk in the park might make you feel better, said Aunt Sushila, and Smita was grateful to her. In the park, people were walking, running, playing ball, doing yogic exercises, feeding the ducks, and eating roasted gram and peanuts. Smita felt alone in their midst. She was lost in her thoughts. Suddenly, a daring thought came to her, and as she hurried home, she said to herself, "Why not? There's no harm in trying it. It would be nice to go to the concert. I don't know when we'll get another opportunity to hear Pandit Ravi Shankar," she said to her mother later. And her father agreed to get the tickets. The next day, as Smita and her father were leaving for the concert, her brother smiled and said, "Enjoy yourself," though the words came out in painful gasps. Lucky you. Sitting beside her father in the gallery, Smita heard as in a dream the thundering welcome the audience gave the great master. Then the first notes came over the air, and Smita felt as if the gates of a land of enchantment and wonder were opening. Spellbound, she listened to the unfolding ragas, the slow plaintive notes, the fast twinkling ones. But all the while, the plan she had decided on the evening before remained firmly in her mind. The chance of a lifetime. She heard Anand's voice in every beat of the tabla. This phrase, thundering welcome, means very loud clapping or very loud cheering. Enchantment means magical. Spellbound also means magical or to cast a spell on someone. Ragas are musical compilations or musical compositions. Plaintive means sad. The concert came to an end. The audience gave the artists a standing ovation. A large, mustachioed, having a long mustache, man gave a long, made a long, boring speech. Then came the presentation of bouquets. Then more applause. Then the curtain came down. The people began to move slowly towards the exit. Now was the time. Smita wriggled away through the crowds towards the stage. Then she went up the steps that led to the wings, her heart beating loudly. In the wings, A small crowd had gathered to talk about the evening concert, to help carry bouquets and teacups and instruments. So over here now we see on our aunt's suggestion, Smita had gone to the park to clear her mind because she was very upset and depressed by what had transpired at home. But in the park, she got thinking about what she was supposed to do for her brother. And suddenly something occurred to her. And when she got back home, she voiced this opinion of hers and said that she would like to attend the concert, although her brother couldn't or would not be able to attend the concert. At this point, it seems that she was being very selfish and self centered. The next day, when she went for the concert, although she enjoyed the concert, she hadn't forgotten what she had thought of doing. And when the concert was over, she proceeded to do exactly what she had planned to do. We continue. He was there, standing with the man who played the tabla for him, the great wizard of music, Ustad Allah Rakha. Her knees felt weak, her tongue dry, but she went up and standing before them, her hands folded, "Oh, sir," she burst out. "Yes?" he asked questioningly but kindly. And her story came pouring out. The story of a brother who lay sick at home and of how he longed to hear him and the Ustad play. Came pouring out means said or was told very quickly, in a great hurry. "Will you come to Aunt Sushila's house and play for him?" she asked at the end breathlessly. "Please," she begged, "please come." "Little girl," said the mustachioed man who had made the long speech, "Panditji is a busy man. You must not bother him with such requests." But Pandit Ravi Shankar smiled and motioned him to be quiet. He turned to Ustad Sahib and said, "What shall we do, Ustad Sahib?" Motioned means gestured or signaled with his hand. The Ustad moved the wad of pan from one cheek to another. "Tomorrow morning we perform for the boy, yes?" he said. "Yes," Panditji replied. "It's settled then." It was a very excited Smita who came home late that night. Anand was awake, breathing the oxygen from the cylinder. Did you hear him?" he whispered. "I did," she replied. "And I spoke to him, and he'll come tomorrow morning with the tabla ustad and they'll play for you." And the following morning, Aunt Sushila's neighbors saw two men get out of the taxi which pulled up outside their block. They could hardly believe their eyes. "Is it? It's not possible," they said. Pandit Ravi Shankar and Ustad Allah Rakha climbed up the wooden staircase and knocked softly on the door of Aunt Sushila's apartment. They went in, sat down on the divan by the window, and played for the boy, surrounding him with a great and beautiful happiness as life went out of him gently, very gently. This last scene in the story or in this lesson is a very, very sad yet meaningful and touching scene. So here, Smita, you can see, did not actually go to the concert for her own pleasure, but she went to see if she could fulfill her brother's dying wish. And because she was brave enough to ask that this request from these great masters of music, Pandit Ravi Shankar and Ustad Allah Rakha, could be done for her brother, she was able to bring happiness to her brother who lay dying. And at the end of it, he could pass away happily and peacefully now that this wish of his was fulfilled. We also see that these two great masters who have won such great renown all through the world because of their musical performances and because of the great skill that they have in their own fields of music, are also very humble and kind and generous people. They do not mind going out of their way to bring happiness and contentment by their performance to anyone, no matter how small that person may seem. They reached out to someone in their kindness and in their generosity, and in doing so, reveal how truly great they really are. This is the message that the writer Shantarao wants to give us through this lesson, that our talents need to be used to bring happiness, no matter how small or insignificant it may seem, to other people. We should not use our talents only so that we gain fame and renown and become rich, but we must use it to bring a lot of happiness and joy to others also. With this, I end this lesson. The following is the assignment that you are supposed to do in your English books. Kindly make sure that you do what is meant for prose in the prose books. Question 3 and 4 need to be done in your grammar books, while question 5 needs to be done in your composition files. Thank you, children. Be safe and take care of yourselves.